Now, the Prime Minister has survived a no-confidence vote and he has the full backing of the Cabinet, according to the Foreign Secretary. But some Tory MPs are still calling for Boris Johnson to step down after losing two crucial seats in by-elections this week. So could he still be ousted? I'm joined by Conservative MP Andrew Bridgen, who wants to change the rules of a no-confidence vote. Thanks for joining us, Andrew. So how likely is it then that, say, the Cabinet would come to Boris Johnson and say, you know, boss, game's up, you need to go, or the 1922 committee changing the rules and forcing another confidence vote?
Well, the Cabinet will come to their own decisions, but, I mean, clearly the next leader of the Conservative Party needs to have integrity, courage and show leadership, and I'm not seeing a lot of that from the Cabinet at the moment. So the other route is to change the rules of the 1922 committee. There are some vacancies and nominations for the executive will open next week. I think the vote will be the week following. But clearly, if there were enough members of the 1922 executive minded to change the rules could be changed, and we could have a further confidence vote on the Prime Minister in less than 12 months.
And you're one of those people supporting it. I don't know if you heard the interview with our political editor, Beth Rigby. The Prime Minister said to her he'd made mistakes. He admitted he'd made mistakes. That's not enough for you. He wants to focus, he said, on policy.
I wrote in January, after Partygate broke, that the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, was an existential threat to the future of the Conservative Party. And I think that has been vindicated in the by-election results we've seen this week. So I think quite honestly, the longer he's in office, the more damage he's got to do to the country and the Conservative Party. And for me, and I think for a lot of the population, that's unacceptable.
What do you want to see at the next election? Do you want to see Boris Johnson out and who would replace him ahead of that election? Because there is much talk, isn't there, Andrew, around any person that takes on leader of the Conservative Party at a time when inflation is at an all-time high, the cost of living is crippling many people. Whoever takes over from Boris Johnson, indeed, if someone does, will have a tough job on their hands.
Yes, but it needs to be a Conservative, and we need to adopt Conservative policies of smaller government, cost-saving, delivering public services more efficiently, and we need to reduce taxation. We're in a situation where the Conservative government's put taxes up to the highest level, the highest tax burden since the Second World War. I've said many times that you can't tax yourself to prosperity, and we shouldn't be trying. Socialist policies don't work anywhere around the world, and they won't work for a Conservative government just splashing the cash either. We can't go on like this. We saw the chairman of the Conservative Party resign after those elections, and he was right to do so.
Oliver Dowden, yes, sending that very powerful letter to say it couldn't be business as usual. What do you think, in your opinion, damage would Boris Johnson do in the next election if he remained leader of the Conservative Party?
I think the Prime Minister's lost the trust of a huge swathe of our electorate and a lot of Conservative voters. And Conservative voters don't have to switch. I don't think they don't love Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. They seem completely devoid of policies to deal with the issues the country faces. But Conservative voters can put Labour in by merely stopping at home and refusing to come out and vote. And I think that's what we saw in those two by-elections, sadly. So we can't have that threat hanging over the country of a Labour government when we can avoid it. And changing the rules of the 1922 committee, or even threatening to do so, was something that Boris Johnson did to Theresa May, and that's what ultimately forced her out of office. And what's sauce for the goose is surely sauce for the gander as well.
OK, Andrew Bridgen, thank you very much for joining us on Sky News.